All right, guys. I'm gonna let a couple of you all come into the room here. Let me know if my volume is okay. Is it too loud? Is it too muted? Just trying to get all these details and whatnot ironed out so that things work properly whenever we go live. I'm gonna be doing a few more live streams than normal here lately. So today I'm actually doing something that uh, I've never done before, but I get a kick out of the whole concept behind it. So I'm really excited about this. I do what you guys have so affectionately called the pin of shame. What typically happens is if we have a video, and it's really anybody that is in the YouTube universe, if someone uploads a video and it gets popular, then you're going to be exposed to a lot of people outside of our normal gun culture. In other words, if I just put a video out and it gets, say, 100,000 views on it or something, that's mostly, I don't want to call it an echo chamber, but it's mostly us. It's folks like us that have the similar beliefs and whatnot. But when you really get one of those videos that bumps outside of that, you kind of reach that outside layer of people who don't always agree with you. And I find it to be fun. If those people come in and they start repeating the normal, tired, old, vomited talking points, I'm usually going to pin that. And you guys call that the pin of shame. And I absolutely love that. It's so much fun for me. I don't mind telling you. And look, I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm not here to necessarily make friends. I mean, I think I have plenty of friends with you guys. So if somebody's feelings are hurt because they said something stupid and they got called out on it by a bunch of you guys, I sleep okay at night knowing that. It's not like I lose a whole bunch of sleep as a result of that. So I enjoy the pin of shame. I will lay there when I'm laying down my son to go to bed at night after I put a pin of shame out there for a couple of hours, and I'll scroll through. I saw a pin of shame that had 453 comments on it the other day, and that just cracked me up. I probably spent 30 minutes rolling through it, just reading everything. So what I've done is I spent, you'll see the times on here. So I spent probably an hour this morning rolling through videos from the last 7 days. And guys, these are just the ones that I snatched from the last 7 days. Now, I will say this, there are a couple of positive pins in there. There's some that I included, I think, that had some good reactions. In other words, there's something that you guys shared that I felt was worthy to put in here also. So I'm going to try to start doing a weekly recap of some of my videos. That'll be a live stream, along with, of course, the pin of shame being the highlight. So we're going to kick this off with the pin of shame. Now, I don't have these in any particular order, and based on the comment is where I'll have to figure out what video it was actually from. So excuse me while I kind of, fumble my way around this. Let's see here. Here we go. And I'm just going to grab the top one. We're going to roll ourselves, and I'm going to try to position myself off to the side because the pin comes up. The pin of shame will come up right in the middle there. So, okay. I'm going to try to read these with you guys. Let's see here. Okay, this one was from Kevin. Kevin says it's clickbait to say sued when sued means it was successfully done so. Please educate yourself. Well, I'm no attorney, but I'm no idiot either. I commented, you seem stupid. Do you realize that when you file a lawsuit, you are suing somebody? Are you stupid? I like the word stupid. When it applies to somebody who has said or done something stupid, they need to know this. As I've stated in some other videos, I don't have a problem being called stupid when I do something or say something stupid, because I have many times in my life. And I appreciate the people who have checked me on that and called me that. So this guy, let's see, this was on the video. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. This was literally a video where it was the lady who was suing Academy for her daughter going to Academy and purchasing a firearm and then killing herself with it, committing suicide with it. The lady was suing Academy. It's literally in the headline of the article that I pulled. Customer or mom sues Academy over daughter purchasing guns. So again, that's why I didn't pin this guy, but it was one that he was probably worthy of a pin, but somebody else probably gained the pin of shame that was a little bit better than him. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Bob Thompson says, I'm all for this bill. This was one of the anti-gun bills. This was the markup of HR 1808, which is a, quote, assault weapons ban. He says, I'm all for this bill. Who do I call? What is the number? Me and mine have all the weapons we need. What do I care about Democrats who bitch for decades about guns being unarmed? Anyone who has waited this long is not on our side. So I say, good job, Congress. Stop the ammo too. Got all I need. I don't. Yeah, I must have pinned this one because I see 226 responses to him. You see my first response. Wow, that's probably the shittiest attitude I've seen regarding the Second Amendment ever. It's true. I can't imagine anyone who was pro Second Amendment, first of all, saying good job on an assault weapons ban. I'm using my quotes. You just can't see it. Assault weapons ban. But also saying that he got all of his. And if you weren't lucky enough to get your firearms or your AR-15 now, too bad. Good job, Congress. Okay, first of all, not everybody's the same age. So not everybody was able to get a firearm at the same time. Not everybody came into this gun culture at the same time. So I applaud every new person that we have rolling into the Second Amendment culture right now. And for this person to put something out like this, I was just flabbergasted. I had to read this 3 or 4 times because I couldn't believe what I was reading. It just is not something that would normally come from somebody in the gun culture. Next pin. Let's see. This guy says maybe a longer waiting period. She would have changed her mind. Same video. This is off of the person who, the girl who shot herself from the gun that she purchased from Academy. And I just put, but that disenfranchises every other person who is trying to commit suicide, who's not trying to commit suicide. This person responded back to me, what's the big hurry? Most people buying a gun probably already have hundreds of the damn things. You can't wait a few extra days for another gun. I don't think disenfranchising is the word you're looking for. And I responded, it's exactly the word I'm looking for. The Second Amendment does not list a waiting period. So yeah, stuff like this just, and again, I must have pinned this one. This was definitely a pin of shame. It's got 131 of you guys that responded back to this person. Next up, NRA propaganda fool. This is somebody calling me a name. NRA propaganda fool. He needs his big gun because there is not much below. He's talking about my junk. And it's funny how a lot of these anti-gun people are kind of closet gay people. I don't care if you're gay. Just don't try to bring that on to me. Don't hit on me on my YouTube channel. So I just let him know that I'm married to a woman. Sorry, gay guy. And he responded, I feel sorry for your wife. I've been married for over 30 years. Sorry to disappoint you. And I responded back to him, I feel sorry for everyone in your life. I'm sure your wife is knocking boots with pretty much everyone else besides you. I can't imagine being in the same room with a candy ass like you, much less married to one. Grow some balls, boy. And other people piled on too. This had 42 responses to it. Also, a lot of these will have a lower count of responses because when I put something stupid like that up there as a pin of shame, when somebody else from the anti-gun culture really comes in with a lot of incorrect facts, I'll usually go and pin them instead, because while it probably doesn't do any good, and I mean this when I say this, I know that the people who are anti-gun that come into my comment section, and probably most of your comment sections as well, I get that we'll probably never change their mind. I do understand that. It's unlikely that anything that I say or that you say will ever change their minds. However, maybe just one of them, maybe just one, when they start, and I'll get to some of the other pins that probably are good for that. I'll pin the next one up there and, we'll see. But maybe if we tell them, everything you just said is not true. And there's times I'll post a link where they can go look at and correct themselves. So maybe they don't run their mouths quite as much. They don't become pro-gun, but maybe they just don't continue to repeat the same things that are lies when they actually realize they were wrong all along. So there is a chance of that. I know it's an outside chance, but here we go to the next one. Guess the thoughts and prayers didn't work again. Not sure why anyone is surprised by this. There is on average more than one mass shooting per day in the U.S. Guess it's just the price of all that freedom. But what's 45,000 gun deaths per year compared to the freedom to have your personal death distributor? How fucking stupid. But don't worry. Sure, the 50 GOP senators will keep up their record of voting down anything that might fix the problem and invent some excuse, probably because the food court didn't have bulletproof plates. This is based on, of course, the Indiana shooting from last week. Now, this person is incorrect in a lot of ways, or at least they're putting incorrect context out there based on numbers. They list the 45,000 gun deaths out there. Those 45,000 gun deaths actually include 30-something thousand suicides. So for this idiot to be talking about a, quote, mass shooting happening every single day and include 30-something thousand people who take their own lives is being very, very disingenuous at best, or purposely just lying about it. Of course, I responded, David, you're stupid. There'd be no one left in America if there was a mass shooting daily. Stop repeating talking points, slave. It makes you look stupid. I enjoy that. It makes me feel good to be able to tell people stuff like that. Let's see. Next up, I'd never advocate for breaking the law, but you'll be judged by 12 or carried by 6. You decide. I said I'm not advocating for breaking a law. What this is this comment was on the same video on the Indiana shooter, the hero out there that shot that mall shooter out there. And what I said in the video was, and you can go back and look at the video, it's out there now. What I stated in the video was that the sign on the door of Simon Properties mall property is a rule. It's a code of conduct that they have. It does not supersede law. It is simply a rule. So when you walk into these malls that have those signs on there, if the state or if you're not precluded in some way by actual law, not a sign on the door, but the actual state law, if you're not precluded from being able to walk in there with a firearm, you're breaking no law. All you're doing is breaking a rule. At worst, if they saw you carrying a firearm and you're concealed carrying, so surely it's concealed, they shouldn't be able to see it in the first place. But if you're concealed carrying that firearm and they notice, all they can do is simply walk up to you and ask you to leave. If you don't leave, you can be cited for trespassing. That's the closest you can come to breaking a law. But for breaking their rule, there's nothing no one can do to you. Nothing. In fact, I've had security guards who work for Simon Properties who saw the video, who actually responded that people are, what was his comment? Exaggerating the rule. He said that we as security guards see people carrying and don't care. We don't tell them anything. He said, I've been doing this for years and I've never told a person that they can't carry or they had to leave or anything like that. He said, it's very much exaggerated. He said, we don't care if people are carrying their firearms. So anyway, this person was obviously misinformed, assuming that I was telling them to break a law. I was not encouraging breaking a law. I do not do that. I was encouraging, and I do encourage this, to break the rule. If you want to carry in a mall and it has a sign on it and it's just a rule, break it all day long. My family and my life is worth way more to me than somebody's feelings inside that mall. Next up, let's see the same video on the Indiana hero that shot the shooter. Yes, he saved lives and is indeed a hero. The sad commentary is that this is just another day of gun violence in the U.S. That's the real issue. I responded, that's not even an issue. The sad thing is people are still stupid enough to think that the presence of a thing, a gun, makes a person decide to kill someone. See how stupid that sounds? Well, it's true. If you say those words out loud, the presence of this being in my presence makes me want to go kill somebody. This is, oops, I better put that down. This is something that, oh, that's, by the way, in case YouTube gets upset about that, this is actually an air gun. I can't even lock it open, but yeah, it's an air gun. Just so the moderators or whoever out there can see, this is not a real gun. That is a CO2 cartridge in there. That is from some training that I did in my backyard. So I was not holding a live firearm during a live stream. That was an air gun. Anyway, you see my point here that obviously that's not an issue, guys. We do, the violence in the U.S. is not a result of the presence of a gun making people decide that they want to take somebody else's life. It's absolutely stupid to even encourage that or even to say it. So sometimes I got to pin that. And of course, 39 of you can see responded to that. Next up, as usual, another pro-gun channel misses the point. Yes, this 22-year-old is a genuine hero and he is to be commended, excuse me. But that doesn't mean that there isn't an epidemic of mass shootings, and it doesn't mean that there aren't commonalities, including the shooters' ages and weapons of choice. That needs to be addressed. You're suggesting that terms long gun and multiple magazines may have been misused or exaggerated. That's an absurd argument. And if it's this hero's And if this hero's actions are now replicated in 97% of future mass shooting events instead of 3%, you may have case. Otherwise, you don't, period. And I just responded, as usual, another ignorant liberal repeating incorrect talking points. Get a handle on your people and look at root causes instead of guns, proving that inanimate objects cannot do anything themselves, and these problems stop, period, which is absolutely true. Again, going back to the false narrative that the presence of a gun makes people want to kill people. The mind, again, I got to repeat it again. I literally wrote a damn book on it. This is the book, How to Make a Monster and Why No One Cares. The mind has to go somewhere, and then they look for whatever tool they can find to take people's lives. The fact that they take guns is pretty much a coincidence. Of course, it's a force multiplier, so obviously that's why they're attracted to them. But they go to guns because they've already decided to take lives. They don't have guns in their presence and then go, I want to kill somebody because I have a gun here, so I may as well put it to use. It's not how this works. Next up. Somehow or another, this person is trying to discredit the person in Indiana that saved everybody else in the mall by saying there were 19 good guys with a gun at Uvalde, Texas, saved no lives. And I responded, they weren't good guys. And he said, really? Then what were they? I said, cowards. This guy is trying to create the false narrative that good guys with guns don't stop shootings. He was mad because this is the way they think. He was mad because a good guy stopped the mall shooting in Indiana. It upsets them. They want as many people mowed down as possible because it inflates their numbers and gives them something to talk about. It gives them a reason to get all bent out of shape and to come on videos like this and to talk trash. So they're upset that the body count was limited in Indiana. So this pissed the guy off. So since he couldn't say anything constructive to further his calls on my video about a guy actually stopping a mass shooting, he throws in the Uvalde thing, which are cops, by the way, which is the only people who they think should have firearms, and says there were 19 good guys with guns at Uvalde and they didn't save any lives. Look, had I chosen those 19 guys in Uvalde, somebody would have saved a life. And I have a strong feeling that if any of us on this live chat right now had been in Uvalde, some lives would have been saved that day. So what a stupid argument. Absolutely stupid argument. It's hard for me to even entertain that kind of stupidity, but I did. Next up, we're tired of you attempting to create heroes out of happenstance. You people think you live in a world of anarchy. You don't. There's chances of experiencing a violent crime is actually by using 100,000 incidents. They're kind of losing me a little bit. One agreement we might have the media sensationalize everything, but you take the tiniest probability and use it to defend your culture of death, and your culture of heroism. So typically American. Here I come to save the day. That's actually underdog. Yes, it's underdog. You people live in a cartoon or comic world where might makes right and the good guys with white hats always wins. It's an illusion. We need a world where this is my favorite part. We need a world where we find the shooter before he becomes a shooter, not a statistic on a morgue slab. I simply responded, your last sentence is literally the stupidest thing I've read all day. And I've read some really stupid stuff today. If you're really that stupid, I pray you don't have the ability to travel freely without supervision. You dumb F. Blows my mind. Blows my mind that these people are so entrenched into the ideology they have that they don't understand the gun culture. They are truly intimidated and scared of guns. They are literally scared of guns. So because they're so scared of guns, I think it's embarrassing to them. So they think that we're crazy because we're not as scared as them. So they lash out and do things like this. What an absolutely insane thing to do. And what's funny is they talk about, live in our world of anarchy. You know, I'm not ashamed to be called an anarchist sometimes because you know what anarchy is. You distrust government and you want less government. I'll take that. I'm okay with that. I would love to live in a world of somewhat anarchy because I don't like the government controlling my every move. And that's what these people want. They prefer that. So they are anti-anarchy. So anyway, what an idiot. Let's see. Another person talking about the Indiana hero. He's not a hero. He could have easily killed several others in the process, of discharging his weapon. We live in modern time. And again, a person who does, you use punctuation, please. Use some punctuation whenever you're writing. His weapon. We live in modern time with modern laws, not the old West where more people were killed by idiots, not even spelling right, who thought they were doing the right thing, but truth caused more suffering. Okay, this person is saying more people were killed by idiots who thought they were doing the right thing, but truth caused more suffering. You're commenting on a video where a guy literally took out a guy trying to kill more people. This is another perfect example of a person who would have preferred that this hero not been there and taken this shooter out and just had mass bloodshed all over. This person is literally coming out and stating that this would have been better if this guy had not been there, because then we'd be just reading about a room full of dead people with a shooter out there, and at least it would have furthered their cause. They're saying what they mean without coming out and actually saying. And then, of course, I responded to him, this guy is a hero. You're just mad that more people didn't die, so you keep vomiting those stupid made-up talking points, you stupid, evil F. And, of course, some other people, they say, let's talk evil, you F. Anyone who discharges a weapon in a crowd without proper training is more of a liability than the one committing the crime. What if he hit and killed a bystander then? And I cut off my comment. You can't see all of it. That is one of the stupidest assessments of a person saving lives that I've ever heard. Again, this person is mad that somebody saved the day. They're mad about this. They're saying, if anyone who discharges a fire or anyone who discharges a weapon in a crowd without proper training is more of a liability than the one committing the crime. Do you hear that? Honestly, I would prefer a person be in a crowd with zero training and have a firearm than it just be the person indiscriminately shooting innocent people. Not that I want people without training to be out there, but I'll take that. At least somebody's got a fighting chance. Somebody has a chance at living to see tomorrow if there's an untrained carrier of a firearm in that area when that mass shooter is out there. But this person's not cool with that. They would rather no one be there. Just kill everybody. Let everybody die. Because at least we're not risking the very slight possibility that somebody else might have gotten shot, which, by the way, did not happen in this case. Only the shooter, the mass rampage killer, that's the only person who got killed from the Good Samaritan hero shot the guy. These people are dreaming up fantasy land whenever they comment. Next one. I want to say two things. First of all, this is what needs to happen every time we have a mass shooter. I have yet to hear that mass shooter's name. Stop making these guys famous. They'll stop doing their stupid, I don't know, see something. Second, although this is going to sound off as me being disrespectful to the young man, the only problem I have with this was I wish you to go out on a second or a third round before you was able to just shoot the other. I don't know what that means. During combat, I wish I'd have been there to help him a lot sooner. Hopefully there's those that are reaching out to get this showman the emotional support he's going to need. I don't even know why. Maybe I even commented wrong. I can't really follow what this guy's saying. I commented, for the record, I've not once mentioned the killer or shown his picture, which I had people that were mad that I was talking about the shooting saying, stop sensationalize this shooter, stop talking about him, or stop mentioning him, stop showing his picture. There's not one of my videos that shows the guy's picture or says his name. I don't spell his name, I don't say his name, and I don't show his picture. So some of these people need to actually watch the video. I think they see the title sometime and just assume that I'm going to say the guy's name or whatever. Next up, as much as I could agree with these points, this channel is breeding grounds for racists and white nationalists. It's off-putting, honestly. I responded, while idiotic and unfounded your points are, if you don't like this channel, then don't come back and kindly F off. Don't come on my channel without any basis or any reason to say it and call me a racist and a white nationalist. Now, I will say this, and this might be taken out of context, but it will be on record on this video. I am a nationalist. You do know what a nationalist means, right? It means America first. It means you want this country to be treated properly first. It means I don't want my money going overseas as long as I've got veterans and homeless people who are starving on the streets. I want my people here fed first. And if there's any left over, somebody else out there that needs it can have it. But for now, I want my people taken care of first. And we seem to be doing a whole lot, including arming other countries, a whole hell of a lot lately, instead of taking care of our own people. And in the meantime, doing just the opposite, trying to strip Second Amendment rights from our very own citizens. So again, don't come at me with this kind of white nationalist stuff. Yes, I'm white, but I also happen to be a nationalist because I do think America is the best country on earth. And I want to keep it that way. I want to make sure that we are treated first. I'm talking about the whole freaking country, not a particular race, you bunch of idiots. So anyway, let's go next. From the way whacked out lefties, hey, dude, screw you. I'm a lefty and I applaud the good guy with a gun. I am so sick and tired of people like you making generalizations based on nothing. You don't know me. You don't know lefties. Just because my politics are more compassionate than yours doesn't mean I can't appreciate the sane, responsible ownership of firearms. I believe people have the right to own weapons for recreation, self-defense, and to stop threats to other innocent people. And my political philosophy is go as far left as you can and then turn left. So the next time you want to shoot off your biased mouth, give it a once over. I responded, F off. Tell your whiny far left piece of S people to stop pissing and moaning about law-abiding gun owners. Compassionate, please. You people are some of the most evil assholes on the planet. Go F yourself. My reason for being so aggravated with this is a person, and I get this a lot on a lot of my videos. People get mad because they're either Democrat or left-leaning. So they come on here and say that I'm wrong for talking about the fact that they are anti-gun. Okay, you know what? If you're voting Democrat, and this is not necessarily a party thing in terms of I'm not relieving the Republicans of any fault. Republicans, if you watch any of my videos, you know how much fault I feel like they have. But we know all the Democrats, except maybe Joe Manchin occasionally, hate guns. And they vote for every anti-gun bill out there. So if you are a Democrat, and if you're watching right now, if you're a left-leaner, a Democrat, a liberal, but you call yourself a pro-Second Amendment person, you're not until you start voting against those people who are voting against your constitutional rights. Again, there are plenty of our Republicans that stab us in the back, but at least we have a fighting chance sometimes. Again, I'm not giving them a pass, the Republicans, but at least you have an ounce of a chance out there. If you're voting for Democrats, you have no chance of a pro-Second Amendment law ever passing, and you have no chance of your person not voting for that anti-gun bill that are getting rammed through. Again, we know the Republicans are doing it. I'm just telling you that, you're not hiding behind some kind of mask of courage if you're still voting for the same people that are voting to take your rights away. Next up, this one cracked me up. Okay, this one was in reference to the ATF video of the ATF agents and the Delaware State Trooper who were showing this guy the papers of the guns that they said that he had purchased, and they wanted to see the unconstitutional kind of search where they were trying to bully the guy. This is a video I put out earlier this week. I think it says ATF bullies gun owner or something like that. This guy was, and I mentioned in the video that you got to come with a warrant. You can't just show up to somebody's house and ask to see stuff. I guess you can ask, but they're not obligated to show you if you don't have a warrant. And I made that point in the video. And this viewer said he has a warrant in his hand. Well, he didn't. And I even stated in the video, in fact, the guy, the ATF agent, is stating what he has in his hand. He's stating that this is the list of guns that he's looking at. And I just responded politely, as you can see, he has no warrant. This person responded back to me, it's in his hands, papers. And I just responded, that's no warrant. Watch the damn video and listen to it. Watch the video and listen to it. You're commenting. Don't make yourself look stupid, because you're making yourself look stupid when you do that. At least watch the damn video, right? All right, next up. Your title is too polarizing. Oh, here we got some feelings right here. Your title is too polarizing. We have the court on our side. Now it's time to convince the population to come along. You don't accomplish that with inflammatory titles and language. Okay, let me pull up my videos real quick. That one was, let's see. Okay, here we go. That one was the one, anti-gun dingbats meltdown over Indiana CCW hero. That's where the Shannon Watts came out and chided the guy, saying how can't believe that we're celebrating a guy who illegally carried a gun. So my title on that, the thumbnail said "good guy with a gun." This one right here. The thumbnail said "good guy with a gun with a person's hair on fire," and the title of the video says "anti-gun dingbats meltdown over Indiana CCW hero." And I just commented, "I'm sorry the title upset you, but I'm not changing it. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to communicate my message my way. This is my way. There are other politically correct content creators that you should watch instead that are super sweet and mainstream." And he doubled down on it and said, of course, you can do what you think is right, but I'm asking you to consider the ramifications. You can fight and hold a viewpoint while trying to draw fence sitters in, or you can push them over to the other side. The only way this battle is ultimately won is public support. Every time there's a mass shooting, for instance, that pulls people to the other side, what are we doing to coax them back, to get them to listen to balanced reason? One needs to be inviting first. No, I don't. I'm not looking to invite people who I can't convince. Let's be real here. No one's sitting on the fence. And in fact, there are probably very few people sitting on the fence who aren't sure if they support the Second Amendment or they're anti-Second Amendment. Now, there may be some that don't support it strongly, and they may not be strongly against it. But watching my video title is not going to change their mind. So my titles are going to stay the same. Sometime now, just to be honest, I have gone out and put a title into a video before and realized that it was worded incorrectly. So I have changed some of my titles before. Either people pointed it out or I realized that I was wording it incorrectly. So I have changed some titles before, but very rarely. Certainly not for this reason. Let's see. Next up, I'm questioning this 2A community after watching one video of yours and looking at the comments. Y'all don't seem like the brightest bunch, that's for sure. And I just responded, you should see the anti-gun community. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, keep looking at the comment section of my videos, and you're going to see those anti-gun people really show their ignorance really, really fast. So he's talking about you guys. He's not real happy with the fact some of the comments that you guys are sharing in the comment section. Let's see. This is also on the ATF video of the ATF agents bullying that gun owner. This person said purely voluntary, and the ATF agent is obvious with it. Never does he force the issue nor threaten arrest or a search warrant. Going to some real story on Tuber. Yawn. I guess he's saying he's going to go watch somebody else's video because I'm pointing out something that's not a big deal because he's yawning. And I just said, I appreciate the feedback, slave. This is a person who's actually defending the ATF for unconstitutionally going to somebody's house, asking to see firearms that person legally purchased. Whether they sold them or not is really of no concern of the ATF, because in the state of Delaware, it's legal to sell a firearm if you want to. So the man had done nothing wrong. So if you're in a state where, and it sucks that we even got to say if you're in a state, because we should all be guided by the same laws, which is the Second Amendment. But if you're in a state where you can purchase firearms legally, you can purchase any firearm legally, and you can purchase any number of firearms legally, and if you can sell those firearms legally, the ATF has no business being at your house unless they suspect you've done something wrong, which at that point, they should be having an investigation, which would mean they would have a warrant. They have no warrant because you're not being investigated, and this is a bogus run that they're doing on you. So that's why I had a problem with this, and I do feel like anyone that's okay with that is a slave to the system. Next up, oh gosh, here we go. I enjoyed the racist remarks before the video played. Good job, MAGA nut. I responded, there were none. I literally grew up in the hood. What it was is I said that these ATF agents were not going to the hood to look for any guns, meaning that they weren't going to a place where they might find resistance. They're going to a place where they know they're not going to meet any resistance because they know that they don't have anything that they're actually following up on, because they're not really trying to stop any crime. They're going out there to harass somebody that would be easy pickings and not give them any resistance. They don't go to the hood because they don't want any resistance, because they know they're not going to get any cooperation, and they know damn well they might get shot. So that's why they don't go to the hood. My response was, there were none. I literally grew up in the hood, and that's exactly what we called it. Now tell your mom to get off D's nuts. And I said the nuts part because this guy called me a MAGA nut, which is not true. So again, my whole point is, don't come at me with that kind of stuff. Don't come at me when I call it the hood. Don't come at me whenever I talk about trashy neighborhoods or whatever. Guys, I grew up poor. I grew up very poor. I slept in a bed with my brother until he joined the Air Force when he was 18. We were very poor. I grew up in the hood. I grew up right across the street from Charity Hospital. Charity Hospital. Charity Hospital ain't exactly in the cherry parts of a neighborhood, right? You find a charity hospital, guys, a free hospital. You find that in a city, and I will show you where there's crime, and it's the hood. It's the absolute hood. That's where I live. So that's why I didn't pay this person not too much attention. But as you can see, he got 433 responses in that particular video. That was a fun one. Next up, this is a good result. Don't get me wrong, but let's keep it in check. Next time, it could be a less competent person winging shots all over the place and killing people. Again, commenting on the Indiana guy who saved all those people in the mall. And I just responded, let's also not forget that whenever there is a shooting, people aren't hanging out behind the killer, taking selfies of themselves in the moment. It's very unlikely people will be behind the shooter, as they have most likely scattered, which is true. We hear this same old tired argument every time. That the two arguments you hear more than anything whenever you carry and you meet somebody who doesn't carry is that, one, if there's a shooting, that you're going to shoot other people. And two, that when law enforcement gets there, they're not going to know who the real shooter is. Well, first of all, law enforcement isn't there. That's why I'm shooting in the first place, because they ain't there. They're not there to save anybody. I'm the one saving the day. So by the time they get there, I will have reholstered my firearm, and I'm no threat to anybody. So it's very unlikely that situation will occur. Now, I think in fairness, I do believe I read about an occurrence like this actually not long ago. I was shocked to hear it. It might have been a week or so ago. I believe it was an occurrence where law enforcement did shoot. I don't know if the guy had stopped the mass shooting. I think it was just he had drawn a gun or something like that because somebody else was there causing problems. I don't remember the exact. I'll have to look for it and put something out on it. But nevertheless, it was more along the lines of that. And I do believe the guy was shot. So again, I'll try to find that story because it was kind of interesting to me. I'd never seen that before because it just doesn't happen. But the thing this guy's saying about we go out there and just wing shots all over the place. When there's an active shooter, we're shooting right there. That's where we're shooting. We're not shooting over there. We're not shooting over there. We're not shooting over there. Shooting right there. We're shooting in the same place because there's not an army of people. And if there's an army of people shooting at me, then anybody on their side probably is a bad guy. But when you have been around any kind of a dangerous situation, whether it be a fight or whatever, look, now I know fight's probably not a good example. People will crowd around. But if anybody suspects there's a dangerous weapon involved, dude, they scatter. It's like roaches when you flick a light on. So don't tell me that, oh, there's a chance. People are not standing there going, what up? What up? What up? Hey, they're not doing that behind the shooter. So there's not much chance that I'm going to shoot somebody because we aren't in the selfie taking mode at that point. They're usually in class mode and get the hell out of here mode at that point. Next up, it's a crazy scenario because let's not skip over the fact that this guy was illegally carrying also. Glad he stopped the shooter, but damn, this is crazy. And I responded, I will let you correct that comment. I feel like I was being nice. He was definitely, again, we're talking about the hero in Indiana that stopped the rampage killer. I will let you correct that comment. He was definitely not illegally carrying. Nothing this man did was illegal. He broke zero laws, and there was not a law in place to prevent him from carrying a firearm in that mall, because there wasn't. And this guy never went back and corrected, because the same comment was up this morning when I took a screenshot of it. So you can see 3 days ago was when he made the comment, and I took a screenshot of it at 10:53 this morning. So anyway, I mean, guys, just I got to hammer that point home. It's a rule. If a mall has a rule on a sign saying you can't carry, and the state does not prohibit you carrying, carry. Screw their rule. Carry. You're not breaking a law. Protect yourself and your family. Cops aren't doing it. Next up, this is funny. I didn't watch your video for one reason. You were exploiting the hero in this situation for your own gain, and I find it reprehensible. This man was not even ready to talk about the situation, and people like you parade it for your own agenda. You were no different than the liberals that exploit tragedy. Show some respect. I responded, then you should have watched the video, dumbass. I literally redact his name, never mention it, and don't show his picture. You need some bigger tampons. Bad. Come on, man. If you're going to comment on my video about something, at least watch it. Because if this fool had watched the video, he would have known that I never mentioned the guy. And any printout that they had where they did list his name, I even went through the trouble to redact it so you couldn't even read his name. And I certainly never showed his picture, and still haven't. That same video is out there now. You can go look at it. In fact, to date, I've never mentioned the guy's name online. Never have. On none of my social media, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, I've never said his name. I've never shown a picture of the guy. Again, the reason behind it is because you'll remember how they crucified Kyle Rittenhouse before he even made it to court. So I feel like until this guy is ready to come out and talk on his own, I'm not going to exploit him, because I don't want the wackos on the left calling his house, calling his parents, and camping out in his front yard. I know what they'll do. They're so mad that this rampage killer didn't kill everybody in the mall that they're trying to find a bad guy. Do you realize that these left-leaning outlets like the CNNs, MSNBCs, and all these folks have put more negative press out about the guy who saved the day than they have about the guy who shot and murdered the people? Do y'all realize that? If you go look, I wish there was a way to actually quantify that and count that. There has been more negative press about the young man who stopped the rampage killing than the one who initiated and murdered those 3 people or 4 people. Unbelievable how they think. Next up, let's see. Cool, an 80% hit rate. Talking about the same story, the same guy in Indiana. Cool, an 80% hit rate, which is funny since a good guy with a gun only stops active shooters 2.7% of the time. I respond, he only shoots them 2.7% of the time. They stop hundreds of thousands a year. You're welcome, sugar. What this guy is talking about is he's trying to use some tired old statistics mocking the 80% hit rate of this Indiana hero by somehow using some wacko left-leaning site to say that, which to me, that's a pretty good number. 2.7% of the time, shooters, honest guys like us, are shooting, he's saying, active shooters. I think that's pretty damn good. If we've got 2.7% of the active shooting situations that are being thwarted by guys like us, that's not bad. That's a lot of lives being saved. I suspect that those numbers are incorrect anyway. What I'm kind of responding to when I say they stop hundreds of thousands a year, I'm talking about good guys with guns who are actually stopping crime. It's been reported that it could be upwards to 1 million crimes that are actually stopped from people who are carrying firearms in the country. Again, you can't measure a negative. In other words, I can't tell you how many people I saved. This kid in the Indiana shooting, we don't know how many lives he saved. We can assume it was everybody in the mall, but we don't know that. We can count the amount of bullets and the amount of rounds that the killer had and assume that. Say that if there were 90 rounds, then he may have saved 90 rounds. We could probably do the math and say what his hit rate was, take the percentage of that, say how many. The point is, you can't prove that. You don't know how many lives are saved. So we can't give you a hard number. You can tell me how many lives were taken because that's something we can count. But I don't know how many lives were saved. My guess is if 3 or 4 lives were taken in that Indiana mall shooting, based on the number of people who were there and the amount of rounds that the guy had, way more than that were actually saved because law enforcement was not there. Okay, next up. Yeah, he also had a good chance of hitting innocent people in this field of fire. fuel of fire. I personally think he just got lucky. God dang. When you're shooting somebody in a high stress situation with that adrenaline dump and that much motor skill problems that you have when you have an adrenaline dump, and you can hit a guy with a handgun 8 times out of 10 shots and he has a rifle and you were not shot, that's not luck. That is not luck. If the roof had caved in on the killer, that's luck. But hitting him 80% of the time is not luck. That's cold steel skill is all that is. That's some trigger time that this guy has spent. Of course, I responded to him with laughing faces, liberals, and with the old facepalm. When there's a shooting, people don't mill around behind the shooter taking selfies. They get the F out. He responded, or she did. I can't tell. That's a Jeffrey. I don't know if that what I don't want to assume their gender. And some people freeze when they hear gunshots. You can't control what people will do out of fear. Some fight, some flight, and some freeze on the spot. This is news to me. So I responded, that's not true. People absolutely haul ass. There ain't a damn video of a person freezing during a shooting. Show me one. And of course, this guy couldn't show one. Next up, this is a person mad because I said, similar to what I said a minute ago, of how I didn't want to say who this guy was because I didn't want him to get the Rittenhouse treatment of being, chastised and harassed before any kind of, he comes out and talks about it. And this person says Rittenhouse crossed state lines with an illegal firearm. Rittenhouse was underage and his mother was his chaperone. Rittenhouse wasn't behind the 8 ball. He was and is to this day the 8 ball. You don't even have the cue, much less the chalk. I say everything you said was wrong. Literally everything. Literally everything. You educate yourself, dummy. Kyle Rittenhouse was of age to have this firearm. He may have been underage to drink, to gamble, but he was not underage to have the firearm, and the firearm was not illegal. If you will remember, there was an actual court case where Kyle Rittenhouse got off on every charge. So this guy's either not paying attention or he's purposely lying because none of what he said was true. Next up, I don't think it helps calling him stupid or an idiot. Instead of possibly educating him, it now makes 2A supporters look crazy. Cicilline probably knows that it doesn't make it full auto, or he is just repeating what Bloomberg Soros groups are telling him to say. This is a person who thinks I need to be nicer. I'm not here to make friends or make people feel good about themselves. This guy is stupid and he is an idiot. Please don't look to me to be the face of the Second Amendment movement. I never claimed to be, and I accepted that responsibility. I simply deal in facts and truth. He responded, I hear you. I understand that that is your position and appreciate the info you bring to the light. We're facing our rights being taken away, and my position is to get 100 people to call, and then blah, blah, blah. I said something else. You'll notice below his comment, I liked it, and I hearted it. I hearted it because I am a nice guy, and I can deal with people reasonably. Don't come on here and tell me that I'm being wrong because I'm calling people stupid who are saying stupid things. This is in response to David Cicilline saying that putting a stabilizing brace on a rifle automatically makes it a bump stock and makes it fully automatic. That is stupid. And by me calling him anything else nicer does not bring people to our side. And it does not mean that somebody's going to listen to me. David Cicilline sat up there and argued that point 5 more times. Even when he was corrected by Massey, he argued it 5 more times. So even an MIT graduate sitting in the halls of Congress couldn't change Cicilline's mind. So do you think me being nice and sugary to him would have changed his mind? Absolutely not. The guy's an idiot and he's stupid, and I'm happy that I called him that. Let's see. Calling his office and leaving this kind of message is irresponsible and only motivates him to be anti-Second Amendment. I just have laughing faces. Yeah, I'm the reason he's anti-Second Amendment. Damn. And we almost had him voting pro-Second Amendment. This is in response to the phone call that I made to David Cicilline's office saying that the things he said were incorrect, not accurate, and that they were stupid. And my phone call message to him was wondering, was he lying, or was he purposely, or was he accidentally omitting things that were true and he just was incorrect and ignorant on the fact? That's what I asked the guy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm not motivating David Cicilline to be anti-Second Amendment. And as I stated in my comment, damn, we almost had him voting pro-Second Amendment. Not likely. Again, look, guys, I don't take a test to make YouTube videos. I don't take a test to be a gun rights activist. I don't take a test to be an advocate for the Second Amendment and try to protect the Second Amendment. I'm not meeting a certain criteria. I do this because this is what I want to do, and I say the things that I want to say the way I want to say them. People who don't like it don't have to watch my videos. This is not state-run television where you're forced to watch this. If I hurt feelings, those people simply don't have to watch. It's really that easy. There's nobody being forced to watch these videos. So if you feel like what I'm saying is not what you want to watch, don't watch it. It's really that easy. And folks like this just don't get it. They don't understand that. Let's go to the next one, guys. For a group of people that don't like to be called stupid, you sure do call a lot of people stupid. This is my favorite, one of my favorite ones. Not true. I never said I didn't like being called stupid. Every time I've done something stupid in my life, I've been gracious for the people who call me out on it. Don't be stupid, and I won't call you stupid. True. I've done so many stupid things in my life, probably like a lot of you guys have. And hey, I don't regret all of them. I've done stupid things that helped shape me as a person. I was called stupid for doing those things because I was stupid. I didn't take offense to them. I actually learned from them. So again, the word stupid is not leaving my vocabulary anytime soon. Next up, after a minute of you explaining why you're not using the guy's name, time to thumbs down. And I guess he's saying, and go. And I just said, bye. That's a guy who didn't like the fact that I was explaining why I was not going to talk about the Indiana shooter, the hero, and give his name. I just wasn't going to do that. And I wanted people to know why I wasn't. I didn't want people to think that I was trying to discredit the guy and not give him his due. It was more along the lines of just being respectful to him and his privacy. Let's see. I did not know that the pharmacist part was added to the gun bill. That is informative. Thank you. However, I feel this video could be shorter, and it seems like you say the same thing multiple times to prove your point. I get it. We don't need it this long. Thank you. And I just responded, I appreciate the feedback, but I'm not changing a single thing. This is me. Look, guys, my motor runs at a fast speed, and many times I'm not clear. Many times I'm not clear. I know that. I recognize that, and I acknowledge that. But I enjoy interacting with you guys. And there have been videos that I've put out in the past where, because I know what I'm trying to say, I don't communicate it properly. And that's a thing for a lot of people out there, especially when we're dealing in like politics and there's so much data out there. In other words, you know, if I'm putting something out on this, you may not want to have me read every single word on it. So I try to include what needs to be talked about without boring you to death, but making sure that I focus on key points, because sometimes there are key things that we need to be talking about that are the main focuses. So I may repeat myself. And for that, I apologize if that aggravates you guys, but I'm not going to stop doing that. And believe me, in post-production, when I go back and edit my videos, many times I have deleted out some of those repetitions because I realized that I got the point across the first time and it was clear. So if I leave repetition in there, it's because I feel like I wasn't clear enough when I was actually putting the video out. So my bad on that, but I'm not changing that. Again, I do my best to edit out unnecessary repetitions as much as I can. Let's see. The lecture on how insurance works is great, but what part is about firearms? You guys, if you haven't seen my latest video, it took me about a week to research this one. A lot of research on this one. Basically, I had to explain how PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers, how they work and how they interact and how they are jacking up the cost of health insurance. The reason why I had to explain that is because our congressmen and senators and Joe Biden were kind enough to slide in a segment into the anti-gun bill that they passed a couple of weeks ago and not tell anybody about it. And all that does is now it defers payment back to us, to the consumer. And the pharmaceutical companies continue to make money. The pharmaceutical companies are also paying these senators and congressmen. I include that in the video, how much money they're making. And the government makes a lot of money because they also act with Medicare. They act as kind of an insurer, if you will. So they stand to make this anti-gun bill that they put out. They're spending billions and billions of dollars. And by sliding this thing in at the last minute and not telling anybody, they're putting a provision in there that's going to make the government $177 billion. That money comes from you and me. That comes from us, guys. So that's what the video was about, that this gun bill that they just passed, no one has been talking about this, but it included a provision in there to hose and screw us through insurance money. And this got slid into a gun bill for gun safety, and no one talked about it. When Congress and senators don't talk about something that they put into a bill, they don't brag about it, it's because they know it's bad and they know it needs to be hidden. And that's why I put the video out, to try to expose these people, because everybody's trying to hide this. And this guy apparently did not watch the video. Was asking me this was somebody who's watching my videos just for strictly gun stuff. And the fact that I apparently didn't use the word guns or firearms enough in the video, and maybe towards the end of the video is when I actually explained that that's what got passed into the bill, this person was upset about that. Let's see. I would love to know how you would stop mass shootings. A real idea that would actually work. Please save the NRA talking points. Wow. This is a level of stupidity that's unreal. I responded, I wrote a book on it. I did write a book on it. But your side doesn't want them to stop talking about mass shootings. They make way too much money off of them. And for the record, the NRA has zero influence on the gun community anymore. You sound stupid, still referencing them. I bet you still wear a beeper. And somebody else responded, well said, thank you. And then somebody else said, my idea is to pass a federal law requiring every U.S. citizen to own a gun and conceal carry. So it goes on that down the line. Again, this person is parroting the same old talking points that the NRA has influence. Guys, you and I both know that the NRA has lost their influence years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago. So yeah, this was an incorrect statement. Next, and I think this is the final one. What exactly does this have to do with a gun bill? I'll never watch another one of your clickbait videos. This is on the insurance video where that gun on the gun bill, where the insurance provision got snuck into it and passed as a gun bill. I respond, you clearly didn't watch the video, dipshit. Please don't ever pretend to watch another one of my videos. And the key word is pretend, because this person pretended to watch the video. Clearly, this person did not watch the whole video, because had they watched the entire video 2/3 of the way through, they would have seen that the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it got snuck in like a Trojan horse into a gun bill. And it clearly doesn't have anything to do with guns. Yes, I realize insurance has nothing to do with guns. That's why I'm outraged that it was included in a gun bill, because it was snuck in by that. Because you know why? Because that provision couldn't have passed by itself, because it's dirty and it's underhanded and people are making a lot of money off of it. That's why it got slid in and nobody talked about it. Again, if it were such a great thing, these senators and congressmen would be bragging about it. You guys, that's actually all that I have. I know a lot of you guys came in to watch this. I appreciate that. I'm going to go real quick to the comment section, which, good Lord have mercy, you guys have commented a ton. So nice to see that. A nice big group of red-blooded Americans out there commenting like crazy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably get out of here. I'm going to try to do this once a week, guys. For those of you that don't know, on Friday nights, I try to have my Friday Night Live videos where I go out and let me get this out of there real quick. Where I go out and we talk about kind of recapping some stuff. So I may start putting the Pen of Shame videos in with that Friday Night Live feature. Not sure yet at this point, but I may do that. Or just do it separate altogether, because I enjoy the Pen of Shame. And I know you guys do too. You know, obviously the interaction that you guys put out there when I have a Pen of Shame blows my mind and it cracks me up. So I may just keep it together or separate altogether. So again, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. I'm about to go throw some steaks on the grill. It looks like we might have some rain out here. I'm in South Louisiana right now, and it's clouding up just to the north of me. but I'm going to go try to fire my grill up, drink me a couple of beers before I wind down today. And hope you guys have a great weekend, the rest of your weekend, I should say. Have a great week coming up. Tomorrow's Monday. Have a good Monday. I know it kind of sucks that the weekend's ending, but nevertheless, guys, we got a long week. Knock on wood, this has been a slow weekend from a gun standpoint. That's kind of a bad thing sometimes because you're wondering what's really happening out there. Look for this week. I will say this. This week, there's a very good chance that the HR 1808, which is a markup of the anti-gun bill, essentially the assault weapons ban, what they call it, that is probably going to go to the House to be voted on this week. It could. So I'll hopefully put some videos out reminding you guys tomorrow or Tuesday maybe, so that I can give you some numbers and some website links and stuff like that to go to your congressman and tell them not to vote for this crap. I do feel like a lot of people have asked me my opinion. I feel like if it happens to squeak through the House, I don't feel like it will pass the Senate. That's just a guess because we have a lot of turncoats who are in Congress and the Senate right now. So I don't put anything past them. But my gut is it may not pass because we have hammered them over this anti-gun bill they just passed. I don't think they have the balls to try to push another one through. So we shall see, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on a Sunday afternoon, guys. We'll see you next time.